Welcome back to Gingerbox 2.0. If you're new here, I'm Yue, and I'm converting this ProMaster 159 high roof van for me and my cat. In this episode 6 of the van build series, I'll talk about how I installed this window on a sliding door. It's really a big step to cut a big hole on a very new van. It's scary but also exciting. Let's get started! I bought this window on Temu on sale for only less than $200. For a fraction of the price of the name brand, the quality is actually pretty good. Let's take a look. This part goes to the outside of the van. I think they cut the corners to accommodate existing holes on your van if you already have one. I don't like it, but anything exterior can be fixed by a lot of sealant. And the window opens like this. The pictures on the instructions are not clear at all, but I think I figured it out. This window requires the wall to be at least 25 mm or 1 inch. I have these two boards together with a depth of a little more than 1 inch. We put it here as the wall. And then we use those clips. And the screws. And this piece goes to the inside of the van. The black clips goes right on to those black screws. The inside frame also have this integrated shade and mosquito net. I mark a line on the board, and the line is here. Now I need to make a frame that's 1 inch thick and about 1 inch wide. I don't want it to be too wide, but just wide enough so that if in the future I want to make a panel that covers the whole sliding door, it has something to grab onto. I got this trim piece that's 2.5 inch wide and 1/2 inch thick from Home Depot. The plan is to split it into 2 strips so they are a little over 1 inch wide, and then glue 2 pieces together so it's 1 inch thick. I bought the trim because it's pre-primed, so it gives the wood a little more protection. But later I had to trim it down, so using untreated board would have been a better idea. I sanded one side of the trim for the glue to stick better. And I glued them together. Then I split it into 2 strips and cut them to lengths. So I made this frame temporarily. The original plan was to use this wood this way, but then I realized after cutting it, sanding it, and glue it back, the width is slightly less than 1 inch. And since the wall requires to be at least 1 inch thick, I decided to turn it this way. And now the depth is a little over 1 inch. It's about 1 inch and 1/8. And we have another problem. Because the metal here is not like square to the surface, so there is a small gap here, and then it make the width here to be a little over 21.5. And the problem is, let's go inside the vehicle, and if I measure from this edge to the bottom edge, it's right at 21.5. And I don't want the frame to overlap with this lip, so the total height has to be within 21.5. And off camera, I took about 1/8 inch of the both side rail, and now the width is just a little over 21.25. Now that the frame sizing is perfect, I use the pocket holes to connect the strips. The frame is done and it fits perfectly. I take the frame to the inside of the van. I mark center here and there, and try to center this frame. And then I put it where I want it to go, and I marked it on the van. We still have a little space here and there. Off camera, I draw those lines, and I hold the frame here to make sure all the lines are good. Off camera, I drilled some tiny holes along the lines from inside, so I can know where they are from outside. And I used the painter's tape to protect the paint because the jigsaw can be rough. With the help of a friend, I traced the frame to finalize the cutting lines. And I also taped the plastic sheet from inside to collect the dust and debris. I should have used a larger sheet though, because later the jigsaw cuts through the sheet a little. To allow the jigsaw blade to pass through the metal, I first drew some holes in the bottom left and bottom right corners. Then I used my cordless jigsaw to start the cut. Maybe the metal is too thick and my cordless jigsaw is too weak. It cuts really slow and often jumps while cutting. I can't stand the speed and switch to a corded jigsaw, and it works great. Also, this jigsaw has a curve setting, and I find the most curvy setting surprisingly works the best to prevent jumping while keeping the cut straight. This jigsaw even cuts the middle supporting piece with no issue. I left the upper middle part to be the last to cut, and I taped both sides so it doesn't fall. Removing the panel is so satisfying. Then I remove the inner tape and file the edge so it's a little smoother. After trying to fit the window, I found the bottom right corner is a little tight, so I used the metal shear to cut off a little more metal. This tool is super helpful here. And let's try to fit the window again. It fits perfectly. The supporting piece leaves two lips that needs to be removed for the frame. We are going to cut them off with a grinder. Remember to wear protection because the metal debris can fly everywhere. I also use the drop cloths to cover the seats. I haven't used the grinder a lot, but it's actually easier than I thought it would be. I was afraid that I would cut the outside metal accidentally, but there is no need to cut through the entire supporting lip. Just grind a line and bend it several times, and it comes right off. After removing both lips, I use gloss protection enamel and a foam brush to paint the edge to prevent rust. Off camera, I applied a thick bead of Sikaflex 221 around the outer frame, especially in the corners. I also retaped the edge on the van so the sealant won't go everywhere. Then we positioned the window carefully, although I still get some sealant on my fingers. While my friend is holding the window, I go inside the van and install clips and screws around the frame. I tighten them down one by one and make sure there is no gap from outside. Since there was a lot of squeeze out, it takes me a long time to clean up the extra sealant before removing the tapes. Finally, I installed the inside trim by clipping it on. And the window is fully installed. I'll keep the plastic film there until the van is fully built. In the end of the video, please remember to like and subscribe to follow the journey. This will encourage me a lot to continue making those videos.